Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Diana, and in today's video I am going to be doing a tarot reading for the new moon of October 16, 2020. And this reading is going to consist of two parts. So the first, I will tune into the more collective, more general energies of the new moon. And I will give you the overview of the message here of what is it that you can expect to work with this new moon, what could be the spiritual challenge, the overall challenge that we may be dealing with this month. And after that, you will be given an opportunity to pick one of the four additional messages that will try to kind of narrow down this overall message and maybe give you some more specific information and go into more detail about what is it that you could be dealing specifically in your life in the upcoming new moon. Okay, so this is what we are going to be doing. So you can definitely use this message and this video for inspiration and just to see what's next, what's coming. But if you would like to be more proactive in this, then you are welcome to set your intention. So what is it that you would like to achieve during this new moon, this lunar cycle? And then you can go ahead and watch those messages and see how they relate to your intention, and maybe how can you adjust, and what could be those specific ways and specific actions that you could take in order to be really successful with your goals and your intentions that you have set for yourself. So this is up to you. Take what works for you, take what resonates with you, and I hope that you will find something helpful in these messages. Okay? But now let's see what is coming up in the general message. Hi and welcome back. So this is the general message for the new moon of October 16, 2020. And I have already shuffled the cards and laid them out to save time. And this month I also picked some runes to go with the cards to give some additional insight on this message. And we have exhaustion, we have politics, and existence. And when it comes to runes, we have the rune called Bunyo. I'm not sure how they are pronounced in English, so I'm just saying how I pronounce them in my native language, which is Latvian. So we also have Raido, and then we have the rune Kenas, and they all are upright. So what about the message for the new moon? What does the cards and the runes want us to know? Well, this message reminds me a lot of the previous month, which was all about revelations and dissolution of unnecessary and old structures that could be a bit challenging to deal with, but definitely for the higher good. And it was all about understanding what is important for us and how can we apply it to our personal journeys. And I have a feeling that this month we are dealing with the remains of those old structures that are still there, because sometimes how it works is that we finally realize that something about our current existence is off and that we need to change something, but we come to this realization, but we are still living in this old reality of ours, and it will require some time to transition out of that and to build a new life, because unfortunately it doesn't happen immediately. It's not that we figure out something and instantly we can see it being mirrored in our external environment. It's not really the case. So we kind of have to move out, we have to deal with the old life, we have to finish things, we have to make some decisions and plan things and perhaps make strategy, and then see what's coming and what are the opportunities to move ourselves into the direction that we know we want to go. So this month it feels like a continuum from the previous month, from the previous lunar cycle, and this is about that. We are still dealing with that old stuff, and it is still pretty much a part of our existence and of our reality. And the main lesson for us in this month, the main challenge for us, is to line up with that path that we know is unfolding inside, that path that we want to go down, which we feel is our path. And even though we wake up every day and we face something that is different, something that is completely different from that, and we have to deal with that. So here is this exhaustion card. And for me, it speaks about all the complexities of life, every maybe often redundant and necessary task and duty and obligation that we have assigned to ourselves and that we feel responsible for. So we may be so busy doing things that are not really fulfilling us, that are not rejuvenating us, that we feel exhausted. We may feel like all the energy that we have is being wasted. It's being drained, and we work a lot. We may be trying to build something or to get something out of that work, but it's not, unfortunately, happening. And the reason for that could be indicated here by this card, by the politics card, which is about pretense and being false and really not seeing what is actually hiding behind the facade, behind that mask with a smiley face. And underneath that, if we would take a closer look at it, if we would be honest with ourselves, and if we would really listen to that inner voice and our intuition, we would realize that what is hiding behind the facade is not something that serves our best interest at all. So those two cards, the exhaustion and the politics, how they work together, it's like we are working and doing stuff that we think is good for us. We have kind of bought into that facade, when in fact we already know that it's not the case at all, that we are doing all this thing and that we are trying our best and putting in so much time and energy and intention into something that will never bring the desired outcome, because it is simply not supposed to do that. It is not about that at all. We have picked the wrong way. And we already understand that. We already know that. And the whole message of this new moon is so that we become stronger and stronger in this realization, and that we stop doubting ourselves, because of course self-doubt is really something that is pretty normal here actually, and also can be pretty strong, since we may think that it's a foolish idea to want something that we want, and that our revelations and internal insights are really maybe even stupid, that we will never make it. So this old reality and the one that we feel called to create and enter, they may feel so different that we simply cannot believe, or we find it hard to believe that this is something that could be true, that inner calling of ours. So some of us may still be pretty much into this old struggle, into this old reality, which keeps exhausting us and which keeps taking away from us. But I think that as soon as we really take an honest look at what is hiding behind that smiley mask, and when we finally see that there is not going to be the reward that we are looking for, it's simply not there, and that we are being taken advantage of, we are being used or even abused by something, by our old lifestyle, by our own thought patterns, by the system that we are in, basically by that current reality that supports us in some way and that we support from our part in some way. As soon as we understand that this is what it is and this is what we get, then we will start to see that basically nothing will ever change here. And if we want to have something different, and if we want that change, then indeed we need to go on and look for something new. And the existence card. This is such a lovely and such a beautiful energy in comparison to this one. It's very simple. And indeed, this is very complex. So the complexity is high. It's so hard and draining, and it's hard to orient yourself in this situation where there is so much going on. But then here, everything is simple and free and open, and this starlit sky, and we are kind of in this energy when we are sitting there naked, so we kind of don't expect anything of us. We have stripped away our old identity, and we are embracing the possibility of us becoming something that we might not necessarily understand what or who, but we feel so attracted and drawn towards this realization that is now there for us. And so we are sitting there and observing that night sky, and it feels like we are trying to map our fate in those stars in the sky, and then see and trying to guess, and maybe not guess, but connect with that potential that is up there for us and answer that calling, so that we find that star that will now guide us, that will be our guiding light, and that will serve us on our new journey that we want to embark on. So you see, these are very different modes of being here. So here it's definitely about looking for the truth, about your truth. Because if this has been your truth, which is not a truth at all, it's a false reality, something that you thought was true is not like that at all. And now it's time that you move on and you start to look for that truth. And as I said, there may be this transition period because you are still a part of this reality. You still need to take care of your responsibilities in the here and now, in the form that they are presented here. So you cannot escape that, you cannot avoid that, and you cannot wake up one morning and simply pretend that it's not something that you need to deal with. You still need to do that. But again, you invite more and more those influences in that will allow you to take a look at your stars, take a look at your heart, and see what connects there, what new connections are being formed there. And then you have your runes, which are absolutely amazing in this context, I must say, and which are simply pointing you towards this new path. So we have the rune of joy, we have the rune of ride, or the journey, the Rider rune, and then we have the torch. So for me, what this indicates, this is really an unfolding journey. And your indication and your guidepost on this journey is your sense of joy. So if you are somebody from a personal development world that you probably, and spiritual development world, then you probably have heard a lot this saying, follow your joy. But this time, this is something that I really want to repeat once again, because it does seem that following your joy is the key here. It's your inner compass that is pointing north, and your north is where it feels the best. And it's very, very different from the way you have used to do things and be, because you might feel that if it's not hard work, then the outcome or the end result is not going to satisfy you. You might have to deal with the belief that you need to work hard in order to earn something valuable, and in order to basically be rewarded for your work. And if it's not hard, if it doesn't feel hard, then it's worthless. Then you don't do that. That should definitely change, and you should really start to pay attention to what feels good, what makes you feel joy, what makes you happy. And that is then the journey you take. You see what's there, What is it that you want to explore? What other activities could you add into your daily life that make you feel lighter and more happy and more playful, and really start to build upon that and see where it takes you. Perhaps in time your hobby or something that you really enjoy doing will turn into a way to make a living. Or perhaps there are relationships in your life that feel joyful, but you are not spending enough time with those people, so that now you can start to maybe open up more space for those people and spend more time with them. And who knows where those relationships go, and what new contacts and acquaintances can you make, and how can that change our life. So this is something that you don't know yet, but that is in front of you, unfolding as you go. And the final rune is the torch. So this is that fiery energy and that illumination. So it's you see, it's the symbol of the rune. It's like something is sort of opening up for you. Every step you take, by every step you take, you open up new and new opportunities for yourself, and you see more. If at first you may not see the territory that you are now entering, then the further you go, the better you see. And this is about really both expressing your talents and building upon your talents and what you already know, and learning new skills, looking for your truth, learning new things to add to your existing talents, and to grow and really expand yourself. So this is a very expansive journey that is fueled by what feels good and what brings you joy. So yes, this is something that has started now, and you have this opportunity to step on that path. And your challenge, I think, for this new moon is to really make sure that you do that you spend more and more time doing those things that you like, researching more, learning more, really following your heart, following your calling, even though it doesn't make any sense at all, even though you don't know where the heck it is taking you. It doesn't matter at this point. What matters is that you are doing that you are on that journey. And yes, you still need to deal with your old stuff. You still need to finish those things, and you still need to unravel some maybe misleading beliefs and assumptions about yourself and your life. And it is still a big part of your existence and your reality, and you cannot avoid it, you cannot escape it, you need to deal with it. So it's like a two-way journey. You kind of finish your old life and you start the new one, and that is how you move forward, how that transition goes, and how you embark on your journey. Okay, so I think it's it. This is the general message for the new moon of October 16, 2020. I hope that this message resonated with you, and now you can pick one of the 4 additional messages to go a bit deeper into what could be specifically something that you could experience this month. Okay, and I'll see you there. So this is your choice for the additional reading. So this is pile number 1, pile number 2, number 3, and pile number 4. Do take some time to pick your pile, the one which speaks the most to you right now, and then take a look in the description box for timestamps, and go ahead and jump right to your reading. By the way, the direction of the top card on each pile is not random. There are both upright and reversed cards here, so do take that into account as well when you pick your pile. Okay? Hi, so this is message number 1, and let's see what it adds to the general message specifically for you, for those of you who picked the first message. And your cards here are Temperance reversed. This is how it looks upright. Then you also have the 7 of Swords, basically the same card as this one, as the Politics from the general message. You also have the Nine of Cups reversed, and then you have the Coyote from the Oracle deck. So, well, definitely this element of false perception of something, or that fake facade, it is something that you should really pay a very close attention to, group number one. As I said, the Seven of Swords, it's the same card as here, the politics card, and also the Coyote. This is about all those influences that trick you into detours, that make you step away from your authentic and genuine path into something that is not necessarily yours, but you have been tricked into that. You have been tricked and misled into believing something that is not true, at least not true for you. And you are very easily tricked, and the question is why? Why are you so easily tricked, group number one? What is that personal truth that you don't want to see and that you are avoiding here? Because the answer to that question is really, really important for you. Because you may be confusing that path which is really illuminated by your joy, which is your true path, and something that you think is your true path. So you may need to work on your priorities, and you may really try to differentiate what is real and what is not real. There could be a tendency for you to choose the shortcut or try to find the quick fix for a problem or a challenge. And there could be it's kind of, I don't really want to work too hard. I just want to get it done as soon as possible. And I want to be basically over it and embracing that new and exciting reality. And you don't really want to do the work, the hard work, and really the work that is necessary to get there and to have that. So really be very careful about that and be very mindful, open and honest with yourself about that, because there is indeed something that you don't see clearly yet, and you have been tricked into something that is not you, that is not yours, and that will never be yours. So for example, if you are looking for some fame and success, then you have to understand that the way you truly attain that fame and success is through doing something that is meaningful to you. It's not enough that you polish that external facade and put it out there and hope that it will buy you fame and success, because even if it does, you will feel still empty inside. Because your true success is to be happy and to feel that there is a very deep meaning for me, that this journey and this path is truly meaningful for me. So that is what you are called to think about in this month. So you have the reverse Temperance card, and this is speaking about imbalance in your life, and that there are certain areas or certain aspects that you are really focusing on and that are taking away most of your energy, but then there are other areas that may be neglected because of that, because that is how you have distributed your energy resources, and that is what you are doing most of your time, and you simply have not enough left to attend to those other things. And the lesson for you here is that perhaps those other things that you have been neglecting are actually more important to you, and that they should be prioritized instead of those things that you are already focusing on. So perhaps that is how that false perception of something is manifesting in your life. You are putting in most of your energy and focus in something that is not, as I already mentioned in the general message, something that is not bringing you the desired outcome, but you are still super focused on that, and you still work very, very hard on that, and you might be desperate in getting that result, in getting there, in persevering and holding on to that. But what it does, it simply breaks that balance, and it makes you unhappy eventually because you feel that something is just not right there. And here you also have to remember that the way you feel on the journey is actually sometimes more important than the way you feel when you have reached your destination. Since our life mostly is about traveling somewhere and journeys that unfold and the journeys that we start and that we are on. So really it's important that for our own well-being that we enjoy the experience, that we enjoy the journey. And here it does seem that you kind of don't really enjoy it, but maybe you don't want to admit that to yourself, because you might be looking at that reward that is that you hope is waiting for you at the end of this journey. But then please remember that that reward might not be there at all. Maybe that is that lie that you have been telling yourself, or the lie that you have bought into. So please be very, very careful, group number 1. Yes, indeed, the Seven of Swords from your message, it really resonates with this politics, with this falseness, with this false facade that is telling you one thing when underneath it there is something completely different and something that is not in your best interests at all. And you feel kind of lazy about that, as indicated by this Nine of Cups card. You don't really want to deal with that mess, because it can feel really messy and it can feel like something that you don't even want to look at, let alone deal with that, let alone make some progress with that and unfold that. You don't even want to get close to that. The Nine of Cups, when reversed, it's about being a bit lazy and disinterested in the more important things, and perhaps also taking things for granted, taking your life for granted, and not wanting to put in too much effort to find what is really bringing you pleasure. So this is about those shortcuts and quick fixes, and also about instant gratification. You want your result fast, you want it now, and it's important that you kind of feed yourself with all those things and with all that stuff that brings you that instant pleasure and fulfillment. But please remember that it is not going to last, and you will have to do that all the time. You will have to replenish yourself all the time, and that in time will become your main thing to do. And avoid seeing the truth. You will need to cover it up and cover it up and cover it up and make sure that you feel good about that. That is not your truth, and that is not your path. So for you, group number 1, this could be quite a challenge to realize that you have been taking this detour instead of your true journey. And you need to go back to your true journey. Learn your lesson, take that wisdom with you, and come back to your true journey. And how do you know the difference? I think the most obvious way to know the difference is indeed that well-being that you feel. You feel fulfilled and satisfied just by doing those things, and you don't really expect the reward, because you already receive the reward simply by being there, by taking part in this experience, and just by doing those things that you enjoy and that fills you up in a very natural way, in a very genuine and beautiful way. That is how you know the difference. There is not that insatiable urge to get something, to fix something. It feels peaceful and serene and very, very enjoyable. Okay, so this is your message group number 1. It's a bit challenging indeed, but I know that you can do it. I know that you have within you everything that is necessary to come back to your true self and find your true path and start listening to your inner guidance system, because it's there, it's very sharp, and it's trying to communicate with you at this very moment. So please do listen to it. And I truly hope that you will do it, and I wish you all the best, and I'll talk to you soon in my next video. Bye bye. Hello and welcome back. So this is your message if you picked the second pile of cards, and let us have a look at what you have going on. So the first card for you is the 5 of Wands. Then you have the 5 of Swords reversed, the Fool, and finally the Oracle card, Beauty Way. So for you, this new moon of October 16, so your message is the following, group number 2. I think that you have really decided for yourself that I'm done. I'm done with something, and I really want to embrace a new chapter of my life, and I really want to move on to something new and something that feels more like myself and something that makes me stronger as opposed to makes me weaker, and where I need to take into account what other people want. So I don't want to deal with that anymore. I want something that is myself, that uplifts me and that inspires me. So you have this 5 of Wands and this 5 of Swords reversed. So they are both about conflict. And since the 5 of Wands is still upright, you might be still dealing with that. There could be an environment that you are currently in that is very competitive, and there's a lot of tension going on there. There could be a lot of opinions, or at least other people whose opinions doesn't necessarily match yours. And you could be constantly fighting about that, or even if you are not openly and actively fighting, then you still feel this tension and this disharmony, that this environment is not supporting the way I think. And even though it's fine, it's totally okay to have different opinions and attitudes towards something. If you find yourself amongst people that constantly think differently than you and that always has opposing opinions on something that you also find important, but you then think something completely different about that, in time it really drains you. And perhaps this is that exhaustion that you may be feeling in your life. Perhaps you have been dealing with this tension and this conflict and this opposition for long enough to realize for yourself that I no longer want to do that. I want something that supports me, and I want to grow stronger in my own energy and my own interests. I don't want to deal with those other people and their stuff anymore. The 5 of Wands also indicates that you can really build your character here, and you can really learn to stand your ground, since you need to defend yourself and compete against other people in whatever setting that may be for you. But indeed, there really sometimes comes a point when you realize that it's enough to compete, and it's enough to fight for your truth. Now it's time that you really want to live your truth, and you want it to be amplified. And it really does seem, as I already mentioned, that you have had that decision, or at least that aha moment that tells you that this is something that you should do, something that you want to do. And you kind of want to leave that all behind. The old life, the conflict, the tension, and all those things with this reversed 5 of Swords. This is again about conflict, about fighting, about having this attitude of being in a war with something. But then when it's reversed, you don't want to deal with that anymore. You are letting yourself go, and perhaps you are also acknowledging that there are certain battles in your life that cannot be won, and perhaps you trying to fight in those battles and trying to win is not going to take you anywhere. It will simply exhaust you. And perhaps that false facade that you have realized is there in your life is precisely that. And then that was that moment when you realized, or you are soon to realize, that if I keep fighting this battle, I'm not going to get the result I'm after, the peace I'm looking for, or that harmony and agreement I'm looking for is not going to be there, because the whole purpose of this thing going on is to be in the state of battle, in the state of conflict. Perhaps that's the sole purpose of this relationship or environment or institution, basically whatever it is for you. The purpose of it is to keep up that conflict and fight, and there is not supposed to be any resolution to that, and that is that realization that you have come to or will soon come if you take in this message and if you dig a bit deeper under the surface and see what's really going on, and if you also listen to your heart. And the Fool card is all about that new beginning that your heart wants to move towards. That is something that you are really looking towards and something that you really want. To start afresh, to open up a new page, start a new chapter and write your story just the way that you want to write it, where everything happens in accordance to your will and in accordance to your values. And the beauty way. This card really wants me to go back to this existence. So it kind of feels that this is you blossoming. So here is you sitting and embracing what is possible, where you could go, who you could become. And this is you having connected with your beauty and your passion, things that you value. So for you, it definitely could be about what is it that you find beautiful? What is it that you value? And how can you bring more of those things into your life? And it starts with your own thoughts and your own attitude. When you find that peace, that internal peace within, when you let your thoughts arise from that space of beauty and serenity inside, and when you really embrace that truth and let it shine, then it's really naturally that you move away from the conflict and from the tension and from this disagreement and misalignment, because here you are coming in alignment with yourself. So indeed, group number 2, this is a very beautiful message for you. If you feel called to certain actions, and if there are certain emotions or thoughts coming up within, do listen to that. Pay close attention to those inner messages, because they will take you exactly where you need to go. That is that inner compass that is trying to communicate with you and trying to send you the message where you need to go next and what you need to do next, because that is something that will really inspire you, and that will be that joy that will illuminate your path ahead. You will no longer have to deal with conflict with other people not agreeing with you not agreeing to other people, because on that path you will meet people who will actually agree with you, who will be your supporters, your teachers, your students, really people who will be there for you and who will share your experience. And it can be beautiful, it can be exciting, and it can be a completely different type of living and different type of reality if we compare to this one, to those fives, to those conflicts and constant battles about something which is actually nothing, because there is never going to be a solution or agreement of that, at least not in this setting. People need to change, people need to change their attitudes, and people need to start to pick their priorities, which are in alignment with what is their higher truth and their higher benefit and their higher good. And you cannot just sit around and wait for others to do that. It's your chance to do that right now, and you can definitely start doing that this month. Invite beauty in your life. Become more beautiful inside. Really define what beauty means to me and how you want to express that, and how you want to make it a part of your reality, how you can amplify it already with what you have, with the resources that are available to you. And that will be the start of your new chapter that you will write in accordance with your higher good and your heart. Okay, so this is your message group number 2. I hope that it resonated with you and you found it helpful. And I'll talk to you soon in my next video. Take care and bye-bye. Hi, this is message number 3 for those of you who picked the third pile of cards. And you have the 5 of Cups reversed. You have the 4 of Wands also reversed. You have the Devil reversed as well. And the Oracle card is Flow. So, what challenges and opportunities are there for you in this new moon of October 16? Group number 3. In the general message, I was talking about like 2 realities. The old one, which is still pretty messy and complicated, and you need to deal with that, but it is exhausting and it takes your energy away, but you still need to attend to that, and you still need to take care of your responsibilities. And then there is this other thing that is calling for you, and something new that is coming into your life, and that possibility of that new thing to be a part of your life and to grow into something that could eventually become the totality of your reality. And it does seem that for you specifically, group number 3, you could be dealing with it could be indeed on a transition from something onto something else. And it could create some confusion and a sense of maybe even chaos, a bit of a chaos for you, in the form your life could currently feel. Well, this 5 of Cups reversed and also the Devil reversed. Those 2 cards, for me, they are an indication that you could be moving away from some sort of pain, and you could have done some healing in order for that to happen. The 5 of Cups is about grief and disappointment, and really feeling all those emotions, those heavy and unpleasant emotions when we feel that we have lost something, or that we don't have something important that we need and we cannot find it, we cannot orient ourselves in that confusion, and we just feel empty and we feel hurt and we are in pain. And we are grieving over the loss of this thing that we find very, very dear for ourselves. However, the reversal of this card indicates that this period is already over for you, and you don't want to be in this mentality anymore. So basically, this is also much about how you perceive your reality. And perhaps you are focusing on what you don't have all the time, and it makes you sad, it makes you really miserable, and in time you start to see more and more evidence for how miserable you actually are. And that is that attitude and opinion you form about yourself, which might not which may not have to do anything at all with how it is actually is. And the reversal of this card of the Five of Cups is telling me that you don't want to be that person anymore. You don't want to sink into that self-pity. Either it's something that really happened to you, or it is simply your attitude towards life in general, towards yourself in general. You don't want to be that person anymore. You want to feel inspired and you want to feel fulfillment and abundance in your life, and that is something that you have chosen to commit to with the reversal of this Five of Cups. Even though it still might feel pretty messy and incomplete, you are on a process of moving towards something better, and please, please, please hold on to that and have faith and trust in yourself, because you can make it, really. And also the Devil reversed. So the Devil card is about the weaknesses of our character. It's really about all those things that keep us chained and small and imprisoned, and we think that we cannot break free from that prison. And again, the reversal of this card shows that you are breaking free from that. You don't want to be a part of that any longer. You want to leave it behind. You want to face your fear, and you really want to see what's there. Whether the thing that you are afraid of is really real. Whether there is some real ground to your fear, to your anxiety, to your weakness, or is it simply a facade that scares you, when in fact there's nothing behind that scary facade. That could be the realization that you have had, group number 3, and perhaps that is what this politics card means to you from the general message. Perhaps the facade was scary for you and you realized that no, it's actually empty. And whatever is hiding behind the facade is not something that you cannot deal with. You can cope, you can deal with. And so you have embarked on this new journey of building a new attitude towards yourself and your life. And the Four of Wands can indicate exactly that you are currently on the transition from the old one to something new. And it indicates that you have lost structure of your life because of that. And as I said, it could feel chaotic. It could feel that you are disorganized and that you don't know really what to do, and you could be confused and in doubt. But it really is a part of the process. It is what this transition is all about. Your old life is kind of breaking down. It's now all in pieces, and you have turned your back to it and you are moving on to something new, but that new thing is not fully formed yet. So you are kind of in between places, and that could be a pretty uncomfortable place to be in, because you have lost that foundation, and that you may feel that you don't really belong anywhere. And your job here is to simply allow that process to unfold naturally, to let it happen, and trust that you will get everything you need when you need it, and you will be able to figure things out, to fix things, and to install new things, new habits, find new practical ways of dealing with stuff. And the more you do that, the more stronger you will get, the more independent and autonomous you will become, and the more that fear of the Devil card will be left behind. The weaker it will become, and the stronger you will grow because of this experience, because of that. And definitely here it is very important that you choose to have this mindset of empowerment and strength. That you don't give in to those negative emotions with this Five of Cups card. Because if you do that, if you linger there for too long, they will sink you in. They will make you miserable, not because you are such, but because you are simply spending too much time around those negative emotions. They will drown you, and you don't want that to happen. You don't want to give your power away to those heavy emotions. There is indeed times when we need to sit with our emotions, when we need to embrace that, and that is something that we should do on a daily basis. But if we let our emotions take over, and if we start believing in them in such a way that that is the reality, that is everything that exists, that particular emotion, then we kind of get locked inside it, and we cannot see different perspectives, and we cannot see what else might be there, and we kind of rob ourselves of our free will to choose what is the best for us. But as I said, it does feel that you already have understood this lesson for yourself, group number 3, and that you are currently already taking steps to change this attitude and to break free from this imprisonment. And please, indeed, don't worry about the messiness of your current life situation, or even if it's not your life, your external life, maybe it's something that you feel inside, that you don't really understand what is what, and everything is kind of upside down. It's completely normal, and you should trust this process, as indicated here by the flow card. You are being guided and taken in the right direction just by making this decision. And just by showing that you have an intention to stop this and to embrace something new. You have already created that shift that will create a real change a bit later down the road, and you must trust and have faith that it will indeed happen, and that you are moving in that direction. You are moving in that direction, and you will be fine. Don't resist anything. Don't resist the way you feel. Embrace your feelings, but as I said, don't get drowned into the negative feelings. Don't assume that this is everything that there is and nothing will ever change, because it will. You definitely will have your life back, or your peace of mind back, and the clarity will also come back to you once you move out of this phase, and once you really embrace your journey and start to look for those new opportunities, as indicated here by the Kenas rune from the general message. This is you opening up your path by your conscious effort. You learn new things, you acquire new skills if necessary, and you keep developing and expanding on those things that you find interesting and that you would like to explore. And this is where you put your focus, and then the order will be restored for you. So this is what I see for you, group number 3. I hope that you liked this message and that you found it helpful. And really stay strong, have trust, and focus on the things that make you feel better about yourself. Okay, so take care, and I'll talk to you soon in my next video. Bye bye. Hi everyone who picked the final pile of cards, the 4th pile. So what do you have going on? So 8 of Swords reversed. Then you have the 6 of Pentacles, which is also reversed. Well, another reversed card, the 8 of Cups. And you have the Oracle card, the Gatherer. So, what is your additional message for the new moon of October 16? Group number 4. Well, it seems that you could be dealing currently with some, maybe a bit challenging situation where you might be struggling, maybe money-wise, or with your resources, or simply with the lack of opportunities that you feel you need in order to progress and move on to something. we were talking about in the general message that there is this part of our lives that is still the old part, the old stuff, the stuff that exhausts us, the stuff that is false. Then there is this new thing coming in, something that we feel called to follow in our hearts. And you are also definitely on this journey as indicated here by those cards. But for you, it could be this situation that you have realized, okay, I want to break free from something, and then you do it, but then you have the next realization, oh, but I don't really have um, material resources to sustain myself in this new situation that I have created for myself. For example, you realize that you don't like your job, you quit your job, but then you still need to pay your bills. And you haven't yet created that new source of income, so you may be struggling in between those two situations, your old job and the new job that you don't have yet. So, or perhaps you have realized that I want to break up with this person, and then you do it, but then again, your life is a complete mess because of that, and perhaps you have lost the place to live, and so on and so forth. So, no matter what is the specific situation for you, it feels like you could be struggling with that. And in some way, it prevents you from really moving on because you still need something from that old reality, that old situation. Because it still keeps supporting you in some way, and that doesn't allow you to move on completely. So here you have the Eight of Swords reversed, and this is my indication that you have really taken your stance and you really want to break free from something. When this card is upright, it speaks about victim mentality, and it usually portrays this woman with her hands tied and with the blindfold on, and she is not able to take decisions for herself, or at least she feels that she cannot do that. But you have taken your power back, group number 4, with the reversed Eight of Swords, and you really want to make those decisions that you know will serve you the best, and you want to step into your power, and you want to dictate your life, and you want to do what you know is the best for you. And that perhaps is your intention and something that you have already started to do more of, and perhaps even it has been as big as quitting your job or breaking up with somebody or moving to a different place or something like that. But then we bump into this reversed Six of Pentacles, which is about not having enough physical resources in terms of money, in terms of maybe time, or simply your physical energy. Perhaps you are trying to build your business and you are still working in your old job, but then you simply have no time and energy to spend on your business, the one that you really want in your heart to build and to see flourish, that would someday become your source of income. So with this reversed Six of Pentacles, you could be dealing with not having enough to support and sustain yourself in the new life that you want to have for yourself. So you are forced to still keep the door open and return to your old life, to this old existence, which is also shown here by this reversed Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is about transitions, about moving on to something, about leaving something behind. But we can see that this card is also reversed, so you are kind of unable to finish the chapter and move on to the new thing that you are hoping to start for yourself, because simply it's not physically possible for the time being. But the message for you is that please don't worry about that, and try to look at it as being a normal part of the transition that you have put yourself into right now. Or if you are only thinking about that, about starting that transition and creating something new for yourself, then please don't let those obstacles of not having enough to support yourself stand in your way and prevent you from taking those steps necessary, because eventually you will be just fine. And you have this gatherer card here, and she is showing you and trying to encourage you and ensure that you can have the help and support that you need. First of all, you can ask for help to other people. Second of all, you can also turn to your own inner resourcefulness, and you can see what else is there and how strong and also abundant you actually are right in this very moment. And you can also save things up. You can prepare for this leap into your new life if you really save up and gather the resources that will be necessary for you to support yourself when you finally take that step and you close that door and you no longer return to the old place, to your old life. So really, I think that the best advice for you here would be don't despair and don't fall into this mindset of, oh my god, I don't have enough, I don't know what to do, because it will be fine. You need to think strategically here and really make a plan, what you need, how much you need, how exactly does it look, and then take those little tiny baby steps towards building and collecting that foundation that is necessary for you in order to sustain yourself in your new life. And it is fine and okay to go back to your old life. As I said in the general message, you still need to take care of your responsibilities here, even though they exhaust you and even though you know they are not true for you at all. That is something that you need to do. You need to swallow that and just deal with that. It's there, it's not going to go away overnight, so you still need to go back to that. And you still get some support out of this old system, this old existence. And you can really look at that strategically. You need that support, and that is the reason why you are going back, because you need that, but you're not going to stay there. So give yourself a very solid and concrete promise that you are not going to stay there, that you will leave once you have enough to support yourself and to feel safe on your own feet in your new life. Once you hit that point, and please be very specific and define how much you need and what exactly you need, and once you hit that point, quit. That's the promise that you have to give yourself, and that will also make it easier for you to continue to do this. So really focus on building up your resources, on creating that base and that foundation that will serve you once you start truly embracing your new life, your new journey, that is your journey. And also, this could also be about acquiring new skills and learning new things that could eventually become the way you earn money. So perhaps it's about starting some courses, or perhaps going back to university, things like that, something that you can use to improve your value in the market and to really become professional in the way you solve problems that this particular market has. So indeed, think about that and be very grounded and be very down to earth, and see and try to figure out really what could be the best strategy for you. Because the more grounded you are, the better. There is a bit of a risk that you will lose yourself in that inability to move on, that you still need to go back and that you still need to deal with the old stuff. And I don't feel good about that, and I will never be able to manifest this new thing that I want. Please don't let that happen to you. And please don't follow those thoughts and those emotions, because they are not doing any good to you. You know what you are doing here, and be super specific and super clear about what you want to achieve and about those little steps that you are taking to achieve that thing. And also do measure your progress, see how far have you come and what have you already done and achieved, and that will build up your confidence, and also you will feel better about yourself in doing that and in following your dream or whatever you want to create for yourself. Really collect the resources that you need in whatever form it is for you, and you will be good to go. So this is your message, group number 4. I truly wish you all the best, and I hope that you found this message inspiring and helpful, and I'll talk to you soon in my next video. Take care and bye bye.